What's up, folks? How are you doing? Welcome back, Football Digest. As always, my name is Nyaassh, and as always, we eat, sleep football, and then we repeat all over again over here. And as usual, today is Friday, and it will be a good time to do a preview of the weekend action that is happening. We have a game being played today. We have plenty of games being played tomorrow, and we have 3 other matches that will be played on Sunday. So I just want to give my quick thoughts on what exactly I think will transpire. All right, and I might be doing some few predictions here and there in the midst of all that. Cool? Great. Let's get right into it. Now, the first game is being played today at 10 o'clock, pitting Aston Villa versus Everton. And, you know, Aston Villa is a team that has been promoted, of course. It has played 2 games now. They're playing at home for the second time. And if you look at their past 2 games, they have always been let down by stupid mistakes. Well, I don't want to call them stupid, but they are mistakes, nevertheless. And, like the first game against Tottenham, they made a mistake. Jack Grealish, they actually had a very decent game against Tottenham away from home, but they did a mistake, and that was their undoing. And if you look at the game they played last weekend against Bournemouth, it was the same stuff. 2 mistakes made back-to-back made them concede. And when you do such mistakes in EPL, more often than not, you're going to pay for that. You know, it's not the championship here, maybe where you get away with some things, but here, if you do some mistakes, you definitely will have to pay for that. Now, they come across, or they're coming up against an Everton side that is the only side that has not yet conceded a goal so far this season. Of course, we're only talking about 2 games, but, you know, that's still a record. And Everton, of course, they are nice. If you look at the guys at their disposal, the kind of players that they have, the likes of Moise Kean, the likes of Iwobi, who might maybe start tomorrow or start today. They have the likes of Walcott. They have the likes of Sigurdsson. They have decent guys, and for me, I think that's the one thing that gives them an edge over Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa have signed a plethora of players, but, you know, I still feel like Everton has an edge over them, and maybe that's just the reason why, for me, I think Everton is going to win that game. If you look at Aston Villa, they have good guys. No, I don't want to take any credit away from them. They have the likes of McGinn, they have the likes of Jack Grealish, they have a striker called Wesley Moares, who has not yet been incorporated into Aston Villa's gameplay, but you get the feeling like if they find a way to actually get Moares into the game, maybe they might cause more trouble to Everton than maybe what you're thinking of. And I would like to think they've learned from their mistakes. They've made 2 mistakes in 2 consecutive games. Maybe, just maybe, they have learned from that. I hope they have, because if they haven't, well, they're going to pay for that tonight when they face Everton. All right? The other games, of course, will be played tomorrow. And I think for today, I would say Everton is going to win that game, regardless of how Aston Villa might be good or how much they might have learned from their mistakes. I think Everton has an edge over them. All right. Then tomorrow we have plenty of games. I think we actually have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games being played tomorrow. The first one being played tomorrow is Norwich hosting Chelsea, a Chelsea side that has not yet won a game so far. They drew against Leicester City last Sunday. Now they're going to be going all the way to Carrow Road to face a Norwich side that is, you know, honestly pumped up, because they have had a very nice start to the season. Well, the first game was one to forget when they were playing against Liverpool at Anfield. But if you look at the second game against Newcastle, you get the feeling like Norwich will be ni team itasumbua ikicheza home. Ni team itasumbua. They have the likes of Pukki. I like their fullbacks. They have Aarons. I can't recall the other guy's name, but you know, they seem like a team that plays good football. And Norwich is actually the team that won the championship last season. So nika team kanajua how to handle pressure. When they face a Chelsea side that is desperately in need of a win, it's going to be a crazy game. I don't know how they're going to react to that, because you honestly can't put Chelsea in the same class as Newcastle. Of course, you can only do that because the 2 teams need a win like crazy. But still, Chelsea is a bit more strong aside compared to Newcastle. So Everton, Norwich will have their work cut out for them in that match. I expect to see what the likes of Pukki will be doing against defense like Chelsea. Now, of course, every Norwich player is happy to have to play in the Premier League. And this is the one time they get to actually test themselves against a strong team at home. All right, we all know when you're playing a strong team away from home, it's always more difficult. But when you come to play them at your own background, you expect to at least get some points from them. So we're going to be looking to see how the likes of Pukki are going to come into that game. It's going to be an interesting one. You know, like I said before, I think Norwich played decently. They have a very decent gameplay. So against Chelsea, a Chelsea side that is blowing hot and cold in a very rapid manner, I can only wait to see what will unfold there. I think it's going to be a cracker. If I have to pick a winner, I would say Chelsea. Now, I know Chelsea kwanza, Chelsea hata siwaelewi kwanza. Because, you know, Chelsea, they have always two halves. Their game is always full of two halves. Apart from that, they played against Liverpool in the Super Cup. All these other games in the Premier League, they're always games of two halves. They have one half which is absolutely fantastic, and it's always the first half. They are prolific in the first half. When they get to the second half, it's like a different team altogether that has come into the pitch. You know, so against Norwich, are they going to be more consistent, or are they just going to be like how they were against Leicester City, where they almost got beat, by the way? So itakuwa game kali sana. I'll definitely be on the lookout and be watching that one. Nione akina Pukki watafanyaje. Nione if the likes of Mason Mount and Lampard can, you know, do something for Chelsea. And it's worth noting here, the last time Lampard went to Carrow Road, he was coaching Derby County, and he's one of the few teams that got points, 3 maximum points from Carrow Road. That game ended 4-3 in favor of Derby County. So his second time going there, how is it going to be? Is he going to walk away 3 points, or did Norwich figure out his gameplay? It's going to be interesting. Of course, Chelsea, they have the likes of Rudiger, who's coming back. So we're going to be seeing who exactly is going to be replaced in the lineup between or in the back defense when you talk of Kadzuma and Christensen. So who exactly, if Rudiger is actually going to come in, who exactly is going to be benched? That's going to be something we're going to be looking out for, all right? They also have the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's out. Callum Hudson-Odoi is still out. So they still have a side that is not yet fully fit. But again, the side that they have should be, just because of the name Chelsea, they should be able to beat the likes of Norwich City. So we're going to be watching to see what exactly is going to transpire. That is going to be setting the pace of the Saturday Premier League action. Then after that, we're going to be having like 4 games at 5 o'clock. The first one, or one of the games that is going to be played then, is Sheffield hosting Leicester City. Now, Sheffield, of course, they played their first game at home last weekend or last Sunday against Crystal Palace, and they won. And of course, it's called Bramall Lane. You know, it's a very nice atmosphere, or a very nice stadium which has great atmosphere. If you watch that game, by the way, you'd tell, or you'd know what I'm talking about. They got their maximum points against Crystal Palace, but you get the feeling Leicester is not at all like Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, right now, they have so many issues going on. Well, not many, but, you know, very important issues going on. So Sheffield versus Leicester, I know Sheffield will be, you know, looking forward to testing themselves against a stronger side at home like Leicester City. But truth be said, I don't see the likes of Madison, Perez, and Vardy. Sioni hao wakisamehea Sheffield United. I don't fancy Sheffield United to get anything at home. Well, of course, the likes of Leicester City, we are here to see Jose Perez kicking the ground and, you know, doing something significant for the team. We are here to see Pride, the midfielder they signed, doing anything good for Leicester City. Leicester City will also be welcoming back Ben Chilwell, who was absent in the last game. They went to Stamford Bridge. So, yeah, they have some nice guys who are there and some nice guys who are coming back. So I guess it's going to be a stronger side than the one that faced Chelsea. And for that reason, it's the reason I think Leicester City are going to win that game. Then we also have another game at 5 o'clock, Brighton versus Southampton. Now, Brighton, of course, have kicked off the Premier League season in a tremendous style. They won their first game away from home at Watford, Vicarage Park. Is it Vicarage Stadium or Vicarage Park? Whichever, you know what I'm talking about. They beat West Ham 3-0. That was one heck of a statement from Brighton, and now they're going to be hosting, at Amex, they're going to be hosting Southampton. A Southampton side that was quite decent against Liverpool, but they never really got going. The only goal they did score that game was more or less like a fluke from Adrian. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly is going to transpire there. Brighton, I fancy their chances there because they're playing at home. They have the likes of Neil Mopey. They have a very good defense and a very good goalkeeper. They have very good wingers. They still have some guys who are out, but I think the squad that Brighton has right now is really doing them a great big deal. And if you look at Southampton also, they'll be looking forward to winning at least this game. They haven't won at all in the Premier League so far. They lost their first game to, who was this? Burnley 3-0. Their second game, of course, they got beat 2-1 at home by Liverpool. And now they face Brighton. And after that, they're going to be facing Manchester United. So, yeah, if they don't win tomorrow, there's a probability they will go to the first international break without points. That is going to be bad for Hasenhuttl. So, I'm reckoning like tomorrow they will try to put in quite a shift. And so being, I think that game will have some goals. I would, however, say if there's going to be a winner, it will be Brighton. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a draw. All right? Just my predictions. Now, another game being played tomorrow at 5 o'clock is Manchester United hosting Crystal Palace. Now, for me, I think this one is a no-brainer. I don't expect much struggle from Manchester United to handle Crystal Palace. If you look at Crystal Palace and the way they have played their previous game against Sheffield, they were just all over the place. There was this coordination between Benteke and Zaha. Surely Roy Hodgson must have seen that and is going to be trying to get something different from them. I'll be very shocked if Benteke starts that game again. So maybe they should start Jordan Ayew or something. It's very different when you have Benteke playing alongside Zaha and the two don't make any passes towards each other. If you look at the statistics that they had in that game, it was terrible. So if they were to do that again at Manchester United, trust you me, they're going to be thrashed a good one. And if you look at Manchester United, they are like a strong team. Manchester United wako full squad. Hakuna mtu wa Man U unaweza sema ati yako absent when he comes from injury atakuwa anaingia kwa hiyo squad wenye yako nayo. They are full house. So against Crystal Palace, I don't expect much struggle from them. I dare say they might just beat Crystal Palace a good one. Maybe your game, if I was to bet that one in a car over 2.5, I don't see much struggle from Manchester United. But the Crystal Palace, they need to sort their shit out ASAP. Otherwise, they might find themselves in very bad places as the season progresses. So for that, I would say Manchester United win. Another game being played tomorrow at 5 o'clock is Watford versus West Ham. Another interesting game, of course. If you look at the two teams, they are desperately in need of 3 points. None has won 3 points so far. Actually, Watford has not even won a single point. Afadhali hata West Ham wako na a single point. West Ham have not won shit. So they need that win badly. And if you look at the team news, they'll be missing the likes of Troy Deeney, who will be out, I think, for 6 weeks. But they are welcoming back the likes of Pereira, they have De La Feu, they have Welbeck, who actually had some few minutes when they were playing Everton last weekend. So they're starting to get the guys back. And also consider they bought Ismail Assar, they have Etienne Capoue. I reckon it's going to be a very interesting game. It's never a dull game between the two teams. It's actually even a London derby. So it's going to be a cracker, that one. If you look at West Ham on the other side, they have Javier Hernandez, who's coming back in place of Sebastian Ella, who's, I think, out with some injury. West Ham will also be missing Mark Noble. I think Felipe Anderson is not yet fit to start. I'm not so sure about that. So I think that game is going to be interesting. The two teams will be going for it. It's never a dull game between the two. So I would say both teams will score, but if there has to be a winner, I would give Watford because they are desperately in need of that 3 points. And those are the 4 games being played at 5 o'clock. Then we have the biggest of them all being played at 7:30. Now, this one is going to be a cracker because these two teams, Liverpool and Arsenal, they are the only two sides that have won maximum points so far. Even City has not won maximum points. Yeah. It's that crazy. And then if you look at Arsenal, of course, every time they go to Anfield, it's always a beating. It's always a showdown. They always get beat badly. So for me as an Arsenal fan, I just want us to go out there and have a decent game. I may be willing to take an L because, Liverpool are, heads and shoulders above us in terms of quality and, team chemistry and everything. But I don't want like another SG 5-1 beating. No. That is the last thing I want. Now, I know we have a long way to go, but I think we are starting to turn a corner. We have not yet turned a corner, but we're starting to turn a corner. So, if you get beat again like 3-0, nitashangaa sana. And if you look also at the prospect that we have in every department, if you look at striking force, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe may not be really up to par with all these other guys, but he will cause some trouble. And it's almost, that front three is almost... It's not very far from the Firmino, Mane, Salah front three of Liverpool. So it's going to be interesting. And of course, if you look at our midfield options, I think this is where we are going to lose or win that game. Because if you look at Liverpool, they like capitalizing on the weak links in the team. And if you look at Arsenal, I would say the weak links, besides defense, if you look at the mid, Xhaka has a tendency of always getting caught up with the ball. And he always gets caught up in the ball in bad places. So if you get to do that again against the likes of Liverpool, I mean, come on, you're going to get punished. Again, our defense is always an issue. David Luiz, I think him coming to Arsenal will add something different, but we all know he has some instances where he just goes nuts. Like he just goes missing. His brilliance just goes missing. So it's going to be a very interesting kind of ball game to see how exactly Unai Emery is going to approach it, because we need to show that we are starting to turn a corner. We will need to show that there's some change in the team and we are not just the previous team that was getting beaten 5-4 goals at Anfield. And if you look at Liverpool on the other hand, they kind of seem a tad fragile at the back. You know, like when they are put under pressure, they kind of seem a tad fragile. And if you look at how they played against Southampton now, of course you can say they were a tad tired because of traveling from Turkey back to the Premier League and going all the way to South Coast. You would say that, but still, I mean, there were instances where you could see moments where the defense was getting exposed and it's starting to look like, hey, in ile Liverpool tumezoea mani ingine, because they are always solid defensively. So it's going to be up to Arsenal to try and exploit that, to try and make sure they get themselves in good positions, especially on counter-attacks. Because if you look at Liverpool, they have been playing a very high defensive line, especially against Southampton. And if you do that with Arsenal, who has the likes of Aubameyang, who's got pace for days, and also Nicola Pepe, I mean, you might just get punished. So it's going to be a very interesting game to see how exactly that is going to pan out. For me, I would say maybe Liverpool will win or both teams will score. But, you know, everybody is saying Liverpool is going to win, and it's kind of knocking me the shit out. You know, I don't like the idea where people feel like, of course, Liverpool are good. All right? I was going to say people feel like, oh, Liverpool, they are better, way miles ahead of Arsenal. You might be shocked. You might be shocked to see that game ending up in a draw or even Arsenal winning. But then again, maybe this is just me being an Arsenal fan and, you know, wishing the best for my team. But if I would take anything from Liverpool, I would say I would want to see growth. You know, not a place where you go and get beat 4 goals, about 10 or nah. Growth. So if there has to be an L, I would take like a 1-0 loss, 2-1, not 3-0, 4-1. When the goals start to be more than 2, the difference between our goals and their goals, when they become more than 2, that's a fucking problem. So it's going to be a solid test for Arsenal, just like how the Manchester United team had a solid test against Wolves. Now this is our test. So that game is going to be played tomorrow at 7:30. Bournemouth versus Manchester City are the two teams that are going to be facing off on Sunday, first at 4 o'clock. Of course, Manchester City, they'll be feeling hard done by what happened against Tottenham when they were at home. So they're going to be going all out against Bournemouth. It's always an interesting game between these two. However, I expect Manchester City to win that game, maybe 3-1. I would say Manchester City is going to win that one. Another game being played on Sunday is Tottenham Hotspurs, who are going to be hosting Newcastle at 6:30. Now, that is, of course, almost a no-brainer. But if you look at how Newcastle have been over the last couple of game weeks, over the last 2 game weeks, you get the feeling like they may want to prove a point when they're playing away at home. They may look at how Aston Villa did against Tottenham. They may be thinking like, you know what, if you can do ABCD just like how Aston Villa did, we might, you know, stand a chance of getting something here. But then again, it's Tottenham, a side that is now going to be welcoming back the likes of Son. I don't fancy anything for Newcastle in this game, to be honest. I don't think they'll get anything from it. I think Tottenham is going to win that one. I hope Son is going to score, though, because I have him in my FPL squad. That game is going to be happening simultaneously with the Wolves versus Burnley game. Now, these are two sides that have contrasting, what can I say, dynamics. Wolves are like Burnley of last season. You know, Burnley last season, they were playing in Europa League, you know, all those qualifiers and stuff, and they were jaded for it, or they were jaded by it, and they had a terrible Premier League season out of having those commitments in the Europa League. Wolves, now, on the other hand, they are the team that is going through what Burnley was going through last season, and now they are meeting. Like Wolves was actually in action yesterday when they were playing at Torino. at Turin versus Torino, where they won 3-2. Jimenez and Diogo Jota on the score sheet. And I'm going to be hoping the two are going to be doing something similar to that tomorrow. I mean, on Sunday, when Wolves host Burnley at Molineux. If you look at Burnley, they are a very defensive side. So maybe they'll be looking to capitalize on just how tired Wolves might be out of going all the way to Italy. It's not that far, but yeah, they were in action midweek. Burnley have just been resting since we beat them on Saturday. So yeah, you get the feeling like maybe Burnley might try to capitalize on that because they know what it takes to be going through all those qualifiers for Europa League. So maybe they stand a better chance of getting something in that game. I, however, hope the likes of Diogo Jota, and specifically Diogo Jota, I hope he does score because I need those points. I need those FPL points like crazy. So those are my 2 cents on what exactly is going to be transpiring in match day 3 of the Premier League. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to always like and subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can be getting our materials first hand. All right? Good night. Goodbye. God bless. Let's enjoy tomorrow's action.